but I'm really, really glad to have you. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Kirsten, and I was able to come to your forum last Thursday or Tuesday. For a long time.
Thursday.
But they're perfect. So just I know that you already were able to kind of mention some of those things or that you were able to talk to with the students, but with this meeting, it's really kind of might feel a little bit repetitive, but it's just a full interview. So anyone who's watching the KNWT news channel can see these questions, look back at them, kind of just to kind of keep everything in mind, or if they weren't able to come to the forum, they know kind of like your thoughts on some of those things. So
Okay.
really kind of just the first thing is just I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself so students can get to know who you are and just what you're about and your reason for wanting to be the next president at Northwest.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
the question. So, I'm Lance Tatum. I've got 28 plus years in higher education. I actually started out as an assistant professor in a classroom, taught for the first 10 years of my career. I then moved into a departmental chair position, and I've moved up through the academic ranks. I've been a dean, I've been a campus chancellor, and now I serve as the campus vice chancellor, or I'm sorry, for the senior vice chancellor for Troy University. So I'm the chief academic officer for the university, which gives me purview over everything that is academic. So faculty, students, academic programs, our library, all of that falls underneath my portfolio. Why am I interested in this position at Northwest? Well, I think, especially given the experience I had last Thursday, it's just an incredible place. I mean, the people are incredible, so warm, so inviting, so really proud of the university. I think that's
Yes.
important to me. I don't want to go someplace where people really don't have that type of passion and pride for the university. It's a regional university that is very similar to my background. I've spent the last 25 years at a regional university. I'm at a rural setting right now, which is much like Maryville. So there's a lot of alignment in my experiences with what you have there at Northwest University. And also, I think that, the values and the mission of the university align to my values as well. Very student-centered, very much trying to get the very best out of students and faculty and staff, and then, do what we do best, and that is put great graduates out into the employment field to support the state and the region.
Yeah, for sure. How do you think kind of just like your opportunities that you've had at Troy and just the positions that you've had are going to equip you to coming to Northwest? Are they similar? Are they different? Like kind of how are you going to go about that?
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to be in a number of roles that
Hmm.
really support my development toward a president's position. So, as the dean for the College of Education, I spent 6 years of my career really trying to build the College of Education through internal and external relationship building, and I think that's a very essential role of the president, and that is to build relationships that both improve and advance the institution. So those relationships are outside, those relationships are inside. So being a dean really kind of gave me my first taste at impacting culture in a very large organization. Through the years, I've had a chance to be a campus vice chancellor, which I mentioned. So I was over a campus at our Montgomery campus, which, has facilities and students, and we have public service facilities there. And so it really gave me a chance to be active in the community and to work with political stakeholders and to work with development. So really great experience there. And then now, as the senior vice chancellor for academic affairs, which in essence is the provost, I have a really broad set of responsibilities that really extend at all levels of the institution. And so, I work hand in hand with the president when he's not available to participate in on-campus or off-campus events. I get the call to do that. So I've had a lot of experience interacting with the public. And in the student forum, I mentioned, I actually started as a student worker cleaning the swimming pool. And
Wow.
so I've done just about everything that you can do at a
Nice.
university. And now I'm at a point where I'm ready to go ahead and take that next step.
That's awesome. Something that I think I've found so cool about doing these meetings is just really getting to like know you guys, and I think uh, understanding who you are within education and outside. So that's just really really cool. Next question. This is going to be something that is not related to the presidency or
Yep.
anything, but it's just kind of something fun just to kind of get a different perspective. But if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would those 3 words be and why?
Very, very patient.
Okay.
I'm very patient. I have two just turned 20s children. Jill and
Okay.
I have two children. We have a son who's 22 and a daughter who's 20. And I think that throughout my career and throughout, my time as a father, I think that one of the greatest attributes I bring to the table is I'm a patient person. I don't get upset easily. And I think when you talk about having really broad responsibility, both for your family and as well as for your professional life, I think, in today's world, you have to show some patience and tolerance. And I think so for me, it's about patience and about trying to get the very best out of people.
That's really good. I love how you said very, very patient.
That's right.
I think most people would like give me three different words, but that works perfect and it's different. So I'm perfectly okay with that.
Good, good.
Good. Okay, so next thing, kind of just moving along. If you were to kind of come on camp, or you've already been on campus,
Right.
if you could describe Northwest in one word, what would that be?
I mentioned it earlier. I think pride. I mean, you can see it, you can feel it when you talk to people. It's in the room when you
Yeah.
get around students and staff and faculty and the community and the regents and the administration. I mean, there is just an enormous amount of pride in that university, and I think that's what's drawing me to this position. That we have that at the university that I'm at. It's something
Hmm.
that's really special to me. I tell people all the time, I don't come to work every day because this is a job. I come to work every day because this is a passion for me, right?
Yeah,
Being able to impact and influence the lives of others. That to me, that really is about what education is all for. And so I really have been impressed with just the depth of pride and passion that you feel when you're on that campus.
for sure. I think my parents both went to Northwest, and
Okay.
so being able to, I've always known I was going to come Northwest. I don't even think I looked at any other school. Something that I think we do really well here, which I think would be good for you, is just we are able to take any type of education, whether that's media, ag, with performing arts, anything that we have on campus. I think is really, really well rounded, and it really does prepare you to have a career day one. And so, coming in as a new president, or potential new president, I think it's important to know that that's something that Northwest does really well, is making sure that education is like at the forefront, and like our pride as well, just knowing that it's a family here. Like we really are, once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat. I'll go
Okay.
to uh I've been in Texas before just wearing a Bearcat shirt, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, Bearcats, I love it." Like, and I'm like, "You're from Texas. How do you know like anything about Northwest, anything about Maryville?" But I think what makes Maryville is Northwest. So, um kind of just like knowing that, and knowing the school pride that we have. What are you most looking forward to being the potential president of Northwest?
Yeah, I think that I'm really excited about the foundation that's been laid at Northwest. There's
Mhm.
great opportunity for even more success than what's already been experienced in the past. I think we've all in higher ed gone through a little bit of a difficult period.
Mm.
The pandemic was really difficult for individuals to have to work through. The
Yeah.
decline in enrollment picture has been tough, but I think that there have been some really very important decisions that have been made at Northwest over the last several years that's put them in a position to be successful. And what I'm excited about is coming and being a part of that team and helping that university move forward.
That's awesome. I'm really, really excited. I think it has been, I was able to talk to one of the faculty members that came to your forum, and I told him, I said, I think all these candidates are so great. I don't know how they're going to
That's right.
choose who's going to be, because you guys just all have just this personability. And I think that's something that we were kind of able to have with Jasinski, that we, you know, and Clarence, I'm glad that he's been able to step in and be the interim president. But I think just one of the biggest things is, and this is something that students mentioned, but just like being present, like being able, like you said, to walk down, on campus and just saying hello to students and being
That's right.
able to interact and for people to know you,
Yep.
because especially with college, where it's different in high school, where you have a principal and you get
Right.
to see them in their office, but in college it's just so big, you don't get to have that relationship. So how do you plan on building relationships with students on campus and making sure that they know who you
Right.
are?
Well, I think, you said something that was very important. That's presence. I think the president has to be present in both
Yeah.
informal and informal types of roles, right? So there's a lot of work that gets done off campus in terms of trying to make sure that you're advocating for the university and that you're making the right connections for the university so that opportunities can be had. But I also think that on campus, you have to be more than just sitting in your office and working every day on the computer. You have to get out. And I love the idea of both formal and informal opportunities to engage. So the formal would be, banquets and award ceremonies and meetings and things where students are going to be present. But I think the other great part about being a university president is the potential to get out and just in a very casual way talk to students and get to know them. So walking across campus or going
Mhm.
to on-campus events or going to the dining center, going to places where students are located. And then I think there's you have to be approachable. If you can get out everywhere you want to be, and if nobody wants to come up and talk to you, that's a problem, right? So I think there has
Yeah.
to be a warmness and there has to be a reason that students want to interact with you. Students are very good at recognizing authenticity, right? So they know if you're authentic or they know that if you're not authentic. And I think
Mhm.
it's important to be able to, at least on some level, relate. My daughter came home over the weekend and she was asking me, how it went and what'd you think? And I
Yeah.
told her, I said, at the beginning of the student forum, they were a little quiet, but they began to loosen up. She's like, oh, Dad, they just don't know you, right? They just have to get to know you before they start opening up. So I think it's important to be engaged and to be active, but to also show a genuine interest in what's happening with students on campus. I think that that's the other part of
Sure.
this, being concerned that there are concerns.
Mm.
And that's something that if you're not careful, you miss or it gets away from you because you're spending a lot of your time working through meetings. But I think being present, I think that's really important.
That's awesome. Well, kind of just like speaking of concerns, what is just one thing that you think you've seen at the university that really just needs improvement, or just kind of like a second eye on and
Yeah.
what you want to work on?
So, again, there's great work that's already been done there. And anything that I would comment on wouldn't be a criticism for what's happened at Northwest. It's just
Hmm.
an observation. I think that, there's continued work that needs to be done with enrollment. I think the truth of the matter is that enrollments are growing, but what's happening on the Northwest campus is heading in a direction that everybody wants to reverse because the vitality and the health of a campus is really seen by the number of people that are on that campus. There's just
Yeah.
no other way around it. So I think really prioritizing and focusing on this idea of recruiting well, retaining well, and supporting students while they're on campus. I think that's a priority I already know that's there, but I think that would also be a priority of mine. I think the other big conversation I had last week was about the facilities and the deferred maintenance issue. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done to make sure that the systems that support the university and support learning and living are all in good shape. And that's
Hmm.
just something that's going to take some work and being able to prioritize. If you get enrollments headed in the right direction, everybody feels better about spending money. And so I
Yeah.
think that's what you have to do. Work on enrollments, get the trend continuing in the right direction, and then start working on the pieces of the infrastructure that need to be addressed.
Right. Understood. Understood. I got one more question before you go. And this is kind of
Okay.
just like a hodgepodge, all in
All
all
right.
kind of thing. But is there anything that no one on campus has asked you or talked about that you want to highlight, before we leave today? Or just anything that you want Northwest, Missouri State students to know about you?
Yeah. So people ask me all the time, how did you get to where you're at right now? So I talk to classes, leadership classes, students, and that's a pretty common question. How did you become the senior vice chancellor for academic affairs? And I told them that, there's a series of events and circumstances in my life that have led me to this position. In the student forum, I talked about Miss Hicks, right? Barbara
Mm.
Hicks, a high
Yeah.
school teacher that changed the trajectory of my life. But there was another opportunity that changed my life that when I love the water. I mean, it's kind of, I
Mhm.
guess, maybe a little strange that I'm looking at Missouri,
Yeah.
and I'm already close to the coast, but I love the
Right.
water. I love lakes and rivers and the Gulf and oceans and that kind of thing. And it was that real passion and connection to water that got me into aquatics, right? So I said I cleaned the swimming pool when I was a student. Well, I
Hmm.
became a lifeguard. I ended up being the head lifeguard, but I learned how to sail, right? I
Yeah.
learned
Oh,
how to sail.
whoa.
And then I
Okay.
learned how to teach sailing. And so
Wow.
when it came time for me to go to graduate school, I ended up getting a full ride to Florida State because I could teach sailing.
Wow.
And so it was
That's
my
crazy.
passion. It was my passion for the water that led me to my purpose in education. And
Mm,
so I really talk to people about, if you can find your passion, it will lead you to your purpose. And I think
mm,
that's what is so great about the collegiate experience, right? You get a chance to really see a lot of different people in a different setting from what you grew up in. You get to engage with, faculty and adults and other students, and it really helps you find that passion. And once you
yeah,
find that passion, I think that leads you to your purpose. So
that's really
me,
good.
it's about water. It's about the water. The water led me to an opportunity that eventually got me to where I'm at right
That's really good. It is, and you say that that just is crazy how those connections happen.
now.
I know I was only coming to Northwest just to cheer, and then I ended up really investing into media,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's always been something that I've loved. But I think like there's been small moments that you receive from your professors, from other people in the community as well, with like with whichever your education may be, but that is just really cool how for sailing you were able to get a full ride scholarship for teaching,
That's right.
and just how you're able to use that now. That's really, really inspiring. And I think anybody, any student can take that and relate that in some way into their life. So I really appreciate that for sure. That's great.
Yeah. And I think the
Yeah.
message is that, when people talk about coming to Northwest, what can I do with that degree? You can do anything you want
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
degree, right? It's whatever you want. And I think that is the real charm of a regional university, right? You get to
Mm,
be in a classroom with full-time faculty. You get to really get engaged. You can get connected because you're not in this massive university that has lots and lots of people. I
mm-hmm.
look at you and what you're doing. I think you're a perfect example of how you can get connected and get engaged and then find something that you really like. There's a passion there. So yeah, that's all
Yeah.
of that draws me to a university like Northwest.
That's good. Well, like I said, I know that this decision is going to be so difficult, but I honestly think that you just I know that you have a great presence, and I was able to talk to Jill. She came up to
Yeah.
me after, and like I told you, she just
Right.
has
Right.
like just this
Yeah.
welcoming spirit, and
That's right.
so if you guys were able to come and just be our first lady and president, I'd be very happy with that, and I think that you have the ability to be personable, and that's something that we need here at Northwest. So I just want to thank you again for your time and answering some questions for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you mentioned
Yeah.
Jill because she's really
Yeah.
she's the strongest part of this partnership that
Oh,
I have. She's incredible. She has this unbelievable talent of walking into a room and just lighting it up. And
yes.
she has this charm that when you talk to her, you really feel like you are the most important person in that room. And it's just a remarkable skill and talent she has. So yeah, we're both really excited about the opportunities. In fact, she called me today and then make sure you're on time when you talk to Kirsten. Make sure that
No.
you tell her I said hello. So she says hello to you,
Well,
okay?
tell her that I said hello as well.
I'll do it.
I think that's so funny. Wow. Yes. She had told me, she's like, I really love your top. It is just
That's
so
right.
cute. And just
That's right.
like that one little thing, I was like, wow. Like, she was present, and like she paid attention to like every detail, and just even to watch her as she was talking me, or as you were talking to us, and just
Yeah.
she was just so joyful and so
Yep.
happy to be there. And so I know that the partnership that you guys have, it's just so beautiful to see, and I'm glad that you guys are able to support each other in this, because this can be difficult. You're
Yes. Yeah.
going to different places, talking, and it's
Right.
just tiring. So know that she's absolute joy, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad to have met you guys for sure.
Well, it's great meeting you as well.
Yes, thank you for your time. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Bye bye.
Bye bye.